Thank you everyone for coming. I am going to try to make a very short summary of what we have been doing these past months. This is the team that has worked on this project. So we have people from the new University of Lisbon and people from the old University of Lisbon. We have a very interesting group with multidisciplinary areas informing the work we have done, from biologists to robotics people, AI people. And the inspiration for this project, as Dario has mentioned, has been the fact that biological roots are extremely efficient machine for performing a task for the plant, which is the exploration and the exploitation of what's in the soil, the water, the nutrients, all the essential ingredients for the root to perform, for the plant to perform its functions. Most come from the soil, and the root needs to be a very robust system that operates in all kinds of conditions that may appear below it. In those different contexts, it creates this structure that performs its tasks in a very efficient manner. What we wanted to do then was to take this inspiration from biology and apply it in a technological problem. The problem is that biology cannot inform us directly about how the roots are doing it, because the models of root structure that exist in biology, most of them are based on centralized schemes such as fractals that do give us the structure the root would acquire, but they do not tell us why does that structure appear and what were the decisions taken as the root grew that led to that structure. So as the first part of the project, we developed a cellular automaton based model that would try to replicate in a complex enough manner the dynamics that occur in the soil and in a root that is operating in that soil. We assumed, we considered just 3 of the multiple types of nutrients that exist in the soil and that the plant explores. From these dynamics, we went to start studying how the roots behave. The root structure is mostly a consequence of the activities of the apexes, which are the extremities of the roots. These extremities perceive their context, and based on their perception, their local perception, they decide at any moment what the root should do. We then implemented genetic algorithmic approaches for evolving the behaviors that these roots should have in multiple random scenarios that we would generate, and we would require, as in nature, that our controllers would be as robust as possible to any kind of scenario that would appear to them. You see here that this same root that is represented in these 3 panels is reading and exploring water, nitrogen and phosphorus that are in multiple locations, and as the root grows, it has to balance the amounts it extracts of all variables. It cannot focus, for instance, merely on water and abdicating search for phosphorus. So you see that what the root is doing here is already a pursuit of fulfillment of multiple objectives. And this behavior was not encoded, but a result of evolutionary algorithms applied to a modeling of the soil and root dynamics that we developed. Then, starting from this work, we went to we went to the problem of an exploration of a planetary surface, a system that would use these same algorithms and techniques, but for a practical application. And you can see here the same neural networks, in this case, that evolved for the soil simulator. They are now being used to deploy a swarm of robots that departs from a central location, such as a rover. And as it moves, it assesses quality of multiple surface areas regarding their scientific interest, and takes decisions of how the swarm should coordinate its movements so that in an efficient manner the whole swarm becomes deployed into interesting areas in which those still robots can then start conducting their scientific work. And in a very short summary, this is the essence of what we have been doing in the past months, and later we will go into more detail explaining what went into this work. Thank you.
Okay, we can take very short question after the executive presentation, even though if it was very interesting but brief. Of course, more details will be given later. So if anyone has curiosity they want to ask or anything else.
Just for me to understand, sorry, because I was not familiar. The last simulation you showed,
yes,
it's a swarm of robots,
mm-hmm.
and what they do is to stop during their path in some locations, and they spread basically,
yes,
and they have field station.
As in the root, because the root is growing and the apexes are deciding what the root structure should be. But then the whole root is a dynamic system that is exploring from the soil and is diffusing values to through the root system. So in applying this to the technological application, a very important issue was to guarantee that we would have the same conditions that in the root give it its behavior. And this I can show you here in more detail. And this communication topology that emerges as the root grows is a fundamental part of the root behavior. So we leave these robots behind. It will be then their task to conduct whatever scientific work is necessary, and the remaining ones that are still moving are still looking for where they should be deployed. There was another question?
Yeah, if you can mention briefly about the neural controller. What kind of?
Okay, in this project we tested two types of controllers. First we tested, because there are two goals in this project. One is the scientific for technological application for robotics that we mentioned, but also because biology does not have these kind of models. We would also want to come up with controllers that could inform biologists of what are the actions that are going on and why do they occur. So we first of all tested rule-based controllers. So we implemented a Pittsburgh learning classifier system where we would evolve a set of rules, and these rules would try to be matched to the context, and once there was a context that matched, the appropriate action would be performed. But then we also tested a feed-forward neural network that we evolved. In this case it was a particle swarm optimization, and because the search space is so much smaller, these controllers obtain better behavior. And that's what you're seeing here. It's a neural network.
Basically, maybe just to clarify on this, what it was doing actually the neural network was just setting the outputs, which was simply, do I branch or do I elongate, and in which direction I do all this. Mm-hmm. So these things were simply setting a threshold. Is the neuron activation above the threshold? Yes, then elongate or branch. So it was a multi-action system.